The key to harmony is in recognizing and appreciating where we converge. Hello all, and welcome to the 12th episode of Earth Created. Holly here, obviously. It's been a really, really long time since I've been with any of you guys, and I'm sorry for that, but things are as they're meant to be, obviously, and life took the front seat, which is good. It's a positive group of things that have gone on in my life. So nothing horrible has happened that has kept me away. It's just my focus has been elsewhere. I would like to talk to you today about a really interesting experience that I had yesterday. And I'm still actually riding a little high off of it, even though I'm actually feeling, truthfully, I'm actually feeling slightly nervous to be doing the show again. I have almost like this fear, but it's not a full-grown fear, that I'm not going to know what to say. So bear with me. I'm going to try my best. I like to do it with as little edits as possible because I'd like it to be a little more real, a little more cohesive, and a little more like a conversation with a friend. Even though it's quite one-sided, I want to create that feeling where you at home would be going, yes, I get it, and contributing something somehow. And if below the video, you could leave your comments and everything, then we can keep this conversation going. And that's what my main focus is for this show, obviously. My friend Jana tells me I'm actually pretty good at this and that I speak in a good way. So in a good way. Yeah. So sometimes I wonder, right? But thank you, Jana. And I totally love you. So your support is needed and definitely appreciated. So I want to tell you about this amazing experience I had yesterday. I was in a state of readiness yesterday. I started off the day with my normal juicing and my earthing, and after that, while I was earthing, I was writing this long email to someone who is a big time skeptic about anything that I talk about, and it was the email that I wrote was very informative, and it was very empowering, and I was trying to be as inspirational and as informative as possible in saying, this is what has been happening, but here's how we can, dissuade this from getting any worse than what it is, even though I'm sure you have to have a great imagination to imagine the world to be a little bit worse than what it actually is right this moment. And I don't say that as a pessimist. I say that as a realist. I understand the sick, oppressive, perverted system and down with it. Absolutely. So I was in a state of readiness after writing this long email, and I ended up, if you are on my Facebook friends list and you're getting the notification of the show through my Facebook group of Earth Created, then just go to my profile, Holly Linden, and it was a note that I wrote yesterday, and it's quite long, but it's not like crazy long. It's not like a chapter or anything of some book or whatever, but it's informative. It's a nice starting point, I think, for people who especially are starting their mega awakening. And there's nothing I can do but help you get to a starting point because, it's the whole lead a horse to water thing, right? I can lead you to the water, and I can show you, which way the stream goes and everything, and where to find the wild crafted plants on, and the wild mushrooms on the side of the lake, the side of the stream or whatever. But you have to decide, okay, I'm going to jump in the river, I'm going to cross the river, or I'm going to, whatever you want to decide, eat the wild mushrooms and have an amazing hallucinogenic trip and see some things you otherwise maybe wouldn't have seen. I don't know. So I was in a state of readiness. So I guess that's just kind of how my day started. And it created kind of what the rest of the day was going to be like. And I was having this conversation with my music partner, Matt Demerit, who is brilliant. And I absolutely love him. And we have a difference of opinion about something. And I'm not going to get into that topic just because I don't want the YouTube comments underneath to be like, oh, well, I believe this. Oh, you believe that? Oh, you're crazy. Blah, blah, blah. It's just like completely unnecessary. So I won't talk about what that topic is. But suffice to say, he has come to a pretty strict conclusion. And I don't think that his mind is going to be swayed. Whereas I'm a little more open to the possibility of the opposite of what he thinks. I don't know. I mean, the only thing that we know is that we kind of really don't know. Nothing is that definitive in this world, especially right now. So I'm just open to the possibilities, And so we come from very different places that lead us to the beliefs that we're at presently. And he was explaining to me, this was my journey, and this is why I have come to the conclusion that I have come to at this current juncture. And it didn't bother me. And that's a real hooray moment, because I feel like we spend so much time in our lives, and we are conditioned to spend so much time in our lives to find our antagonists, to find our enemies, to find our opposites. And I think we do this naturally, and I think we're conditioned to do it. So I think obviously our conditioning is to make us find our opposite, to make us create an enemy in our lives, to create strife and conflict, and keep the whole elite idea of separation. It's easier to conquer somebody once you've separated them. We have been conditioned to do that. This is why religion and politics and even grades, as far as I'm concerned, school grades, like, how you get graded on a test, and also grades, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4. I think it's just more and more ways to separate us. And then our natural inclination, I think, is also to search for our quote unquote opposite, because I think that we like to have a refractive mirror, and not, or I guess a better example would be, mirror would be a good example, but also somebody who repels us. So if you think of us as magnets for a second, we like to find obviously people who we're attracted to and who are attracted to us, but we also have, I think, a natural inclination to find those who push against us. And that was something that an old friend of mine really taught me was important within any relationship, is to challenge one another. Because realistically, if you have a friend and you agree about everything under the sun and moon, then there's not going to be much chance for growth. And what was really great about this person was that she did, the relationship wasn't long-lived using a timeline, but it was really wonderful because she didn't just agree with everything I said. She was also open to all the possibilities of the universe too. But she didn't just agree with what I said all the time just to create harmony. If she really didn't agree with what I was saying, she would say, well, what about this idea? And put that on the table. And that would challenge me to think even more outside the box within which that I am in, you get it. And, because we talked about this in the one episode, Beyond the Veil and Outside the Box. We have been confined to a teeny tiny little box, which we're not allowed out of until someone else sees fit, and they never see fit because they don't want you to think for yourself, obviously. And, but the more you search outside the box, obviously the box gets bigger, and, your living space gets bigger. And I've always kind of felt, especially in the last 5 years, that my box, so to speak, is universe sized. But to have a person like her in my life, she really showed me that it was really, really big. But there was even an even more broader spectrum out there that I could reach for. So I think that sometimes we do tend to look for our opposites, those who would push against us, and create a resistance, because then we start to think a little more outside the box. Even if we think our box is bigger than the universe, certain people can bring you out of even that and realize that, whoa, it can get even bigger than that, And so that's a really incredible thing. So if you do have any friends who unequivocally, there's no doubt they love you and you love them, and it's unconditional, and I don't recommend hanging out with people who love you conditionally, because that's just not really that great for you. Unless you really want to learn a hard lesson from that relationship, I don't totally recommend it. But to have those friends who push against you a little bit, who make you think a little differently than how you think, is a really incredible thing. So he was telling me of his journey and how he had come to the conclusion that he was at presently. And I said to him, you know what? I really appreciate your journey, because no matter how many times we agree or how many times we disagree with one another based upon what our experience or what our beliefs or what our life spectrum is, you know, I can appreciate your journey because it has made you the person that you are today. And the person that you are today is phenomenal, is a brilliant person who I love very much. And he really appreciated that too, you know, so it created, I think, a greater bond between us because I recognize where we converge and I appreciate it. Yes, we have our differences, obviously. I don't think you're gonna find two people who agree on absolutely everything. You know, we do agree on quite a bit. And it's the same thing with my partner, Eric. We agree on quite a bit, but there are places where we disagree or we have a different perspective. And what happens there is really incredible because you push against each other a little bit. You have that moment, like my friend did with me, where you say, well, what about this idea? You know, and I did it with her too. I mean, it's just at the beginning, I didn't do it as much because I am the kind of person who wants to keep the harmony and keep the conflict out. Believe it or not, even though I speak my mind very, very loud and proud, you know, I still don't want to create discord. You know, I want everyone holding hands and hugging and singing beautiful songs and circling the earth and being stewards of the planet and just creating loving, beautiful, magical, wondrous energy, you know. But I realized sometimes you got to push back. And that was what she taught me. So a few months into our relationship, I was pushing back. But I make it sound like I was a little more disagreeing than what I actually am. But I definitely pushed back and that created scintillating conversations. And I've mentioned before that she and I started a show together and we only did one episode because her life got really, really, really busy and we couldn't keep up at that point. But we only did one episode, but that was the thing that propelled us to do our show to begin with, was because we would have these scintillating, amazing, challenging conversations where at the end of it, both of us would just be like, dude, I never thought of that, you know? So while I'm talking to Matt yesterday, I have this epiphany. It just comes out of nowhere. Well, quote unquote, nowhere. Or now here, as the case may be. And I find myself feeling a sentence and I just type it out for him because we were Gmail chatting. And I said, the key to harmony is in recognizing and appreciating where we converge. We may have differences. You know, you may believe in religion, I definitely don't. But that doesn't mean there can't be somewhere, and that doesn't mean there isn't. There definitely is. If you think of us encircling the globe as little light points, you know, some of us are really, really, really bright and we just take up the whole area. Some of us are on and you can see the light. Some of us are off and the light is currently dead, as the case may be, but death is not the end. So the light will be reborn, so to speak. Some of us are really dim, you know. Some of us are 3/4 on. You get the euphemism. So, analogy, actually. So what we need to do, I forget the most important part, is we're all connected. You know, we're all plugged into the same source, so to speak, and we are all wired together. And especially in this technological age, which I would prefer not to be a technocracy, which is a hard word to say sometimes, but easier to type. I would prefer the world not to be a technocracy, and I see it sometimes when I see 11-year-olds doing nothing but texting on their phones, like their hands are on fire. You know, it's just, I think it's awful. You know, I think the thing that makes our society, our community a lot better is to marry spirituality and technology. But unfortunately, sometimes it's very technocratic, you know, and it's just too much of a focus as far as I'm concerned. I think I've probably said this before. But in a way, in the technological sense, we are completely wired together, okay? In the spiritual sense, we are completely one, obviously. It's the story of oneness that everybody talks about. And I talk about it. I mean, on my upcoming third album, Beacon, it's all about how we are one. for a quick, this story follows basically this little girl who's unnamed because that's not important. She's just a little girl who meets a wise old extraterrestrial. And they have like a back and forth where the little girl who's in essence, the little girl is me, is my inner child. And the wise old ET is also me, who is my wise, my incredible spirit self who's lived for eternity, and will live for eternity. And so it's my way of healing. And also I recognize and appreciate those pieces within other people, that everyone has those. We all have the adult, we all have the little child, we all have the wise old ET, man, woman, tribal chief, whatever you want to insert there. So that's what the story follows, and it shows the little girl's journey into enlightenment and realizing that we are all one. So artists talk about this, like me, and civilizations, ancient civilizations, current civilizations like the Hopis, and they all talk about this, our oneness. So there you have the technological explanation of how we all converge, and you also have this a little bit of a spiritual explanation or description or about how we all converge. But when I came up with it, I was kind of thinking it's a little more in a, a little more in a conversational sense, maybe 3D, very physical sense, because no matter what happens, you will find something. And it doesn't matter if you disagree on everything. Even with the one person, if you have that one person in your life who you disagree with on everything and you've had countless issues together, there's going to be something, There's one person on the outskirts of my life, because this person's not an everyday, obviously. So this person's on the outskirts of my life, and we have had a couple of issues, but we're both Pisces. So I know that doesn't seem like much, but it's something. We were both born under that same energetic imprint, and that's really important. So it's something, and that really fascinates me. So I had that amazing experience yesterday where I was totally ready. I was in that state of readiness, and then I had that conversation with Matt, and then it brought this amazing epiphany to my mind. The key to harmony is in recognizing and appreciating where we converge. Because so often we spend our time, like I said, searching for the antagonist, searching for the enemy and the opposite. And in a conditioned way, that's a really negative thing, because it just makes us fight all the time. In our natural inclination kind of way, it's really positive, because it gives us a mirror of something either to not emulate or something to learn from, because it's broader than the spectrum within which you've put yourself or the system has put you. And appreciating each other's journey is so important. We may be at different points today, but there is some point, and there's another example of how this axiom works and how we converge, is that somewhere in our journey, our paths always cross. We always converge. It doesn't matter what you think about the person next to you right now, because there's some point, even if you have the same teacher in 3rd grade, you love the same color, you love the same food, you love the same TV show. They seem like really surface things, but how many things have come out of loving a TV show? Say you love the same animated show and both of you are interested in animation. Well, there you go. You could start a show together. That's something funny or something interesting that talks about the truths of the world, and it could make people laugh, make people wake up, make people think, and everything counts. It all counts towards something. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but I'm very excited about it. So after I had this epiphany, Eric and I went out into to this one park that we really love here in town, and we walk around it. Every few days we go, but we go for walks every day. But every few days we go to this park and walk around the bigger part of the park. And I was already buzzing and riding high on this incredible epiphany that had come to me. And I was talking like a 1,000 kims per hour and everything. Like I was going really, really fast, and I was so excited, and I just had all this pent up energy, and there we are walking around pretty fast and around this park, and It was really beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. Um, and so the whole time we were there, it was maybe like 20, 25 minutes. I was just talking the whole time. I don't think he even said a thing. I was just talking the whole time about this incredible epiphany I'd come to and how we are all connected. We are all little light points on the planet and beyond this planet, and we are all connected. So, it is really, really wonderful because at some point we always converge. And this, to me, I know I keep repeating it, but this is a really powerful piece of information that I was given yesterday. And then on top of that, so I was buzzing with all this energy, having a very, a state of readiness kind of day, and then having this epiphany, and then going for a walk in nature, which is always cleansing, always exhilarating. And then to have, compounded upon finding this epiphany, I was buzzing so high. And then after that, we went grocery shopping, and which kind of lowers your buzz a little bit, even though, depends where you're standing in the grocery store, really. When you're around the produce, that's when my energy is the best. And then when you get farther away from it, it's less and less, right? But our cashier noticed all the food that was being pushed through, and she was like, "You guys always buy really healthy stuff." And I said, well, I'm a raw foodist. So, I juice all the time. So anytime you see like a stack of carrots and apples and greens and stuff, that's my everyday juicing stuff. And I eat basically fruits and vegetables and dehydrated stuff. And she started talking to me about it. How do you find that goes for you? Are you hungry do you eat meat? Like, how's it going? And there was no judgment. There was no she was just really interested. And that made me feel really great too. So on all of these things, like, just compounded and created this like high energy day for me. And I came back and I wrote to Matt and I was like, I've never felt so alive, like you almost feel like you're going crazy. When we were driving into the parking lot to the grocery store, I said to Eric, I just want to jump out of the car and I want to scream and I want to run across the parking lot, because I just had so much energy and I was so happy and I was so lit up. That was the moment where my light was shining crazy bright, crazy bright, crazy bright. And that is a fascinating feeling. And I have quite a bit of it today. I'm still dealing with the after effects. Well, dealing with is not quite the right phrase, but I'm still living with the after effects of having so much energy and feeling so electrified. That's the only way I can explain it, is you just feel electrified. And so I was talking about how we could heal the world when Eric and I were on this walk. And I was saying, if you think of us all as little batteries, that's what my initial thing was before I started talking about little light points. See, now I'm getting garbled because I'm getting too excited. If you think of us all as batteries, some of us are fully juiced. Some of us are dead, so to speak, dead, have no juice. Some of us are halfway. Some of us are 3/4. Some of us are, what we need is for all of us to be as juiced as possible, because there are a few things I was throwing in the conversation. If you've ever heard of Duncan O'Finian, and I highly recommend you check out his video. He has a couple videos with Project Camelot and with other people. But his first 2 videos, I think, with Project Camelot, I think he only had 2. Duncan O'Finian, and he is what is known as a super soldier, even though he's not crazy about that phrase. I'm actually not crazy about that phrase either, but it's the one that Carrie Cassidy uses, and so it's just quicker it's a label, right? And the process that he was put through, I'm not going to go into it because it's long and arduous, and it's crazy, but it's incredible. But what he was talking about in his training, from a child being trained to become this quote unquote super soldier, when he was talking about the psychics that they had trained him in, we all have that power. It's just that it gets quelled, it gets squashed by the psychopressive system, because they don't want us to realize that power, obviously. I don't even think I need to tell you that anymore. It's so obvious. They're making it more and more obvious every single day by trying to take even more power away from us, because we are so powerful. His story was that, the telekinetics, the telekinesis, the levitation, the teleportation, the astral travel, the out of body, which is also astral travel, out of body experiences, that he was put through in order to become stronger psychically. He explained this one situation, and I'm not going to get it all right, so I'm not going to get it really into details, but he explained this one situation where he and 11 other children went out to the jungles of, I want to say Cambodia or Vietnam. It's one of the two. It was during the Vietnam War. And they all held hands and they just closed their eyes and they sent a shockwave and it killed lots of soldiers, from what I understand. Not on quote unquote our side, but on the quote unquote other side. And sides I don't really, whatever. So, but it was just really, really interesting because that's not the only time someone has talked about something of that effect, having people come together, acting as batteries or lightning rods in a way, and sending out a particular energy, and it creates a certain manifestation in the physical world. And David Wilcock has talked about this, and you would have to look more to get information on this, but he talks about it, I think, in his 2012 Enigma video and his 2012 Event Horizon video, I'm pretty sure. And they're both completely worth it. I recommend you look for them. Event Horizon and I just said the other one, now I forget it. 2012 Enigma, I think. Yeah, I think that's right. And they're both pretty long, a couple hours, but totally, absolutely worth it. But he tells the story about how a very small group, it was like 12 or less, of like monks, I think, came together and they were all meditating. And what had happened was that it was like scientifically measured, whatever. See, I'm not getting all the details right, but if you look into it, it's really fascinating. And what they ended up doing was lowering crime in a particular place by like 70% or something. And they also lowered the temperature of the planet. So think about, I was saying to Eric yesterday, think about if we have our city, 35,000 people roughly, all intending the same thing. All of our lights are glowing bright. All of our battery selves are to the top charged, highest level we could possibly be at. And we are all intending the same thing. And that thing obviously is self-empowerment, self-awareness, awareness of the world, heightening our consciousness, getting these people who could not give a shit less about us out of the system, creating our own system. And we can do it. You could probably I'm sure you could get 50 people. If you get 50 people together doing that kind of thing, I believe very strongly, would see a great deal of change somewhere, depending upon where your focus and your intent has gone. So let me say it again. The key to harmony is in recognizing and appreciating where we converge. And I think when we recognize and appreciate, we don't have all the things in common, but this is where we connect. Once we can really make that connection, we can work together. We can create a better future. We can create, not a better future, a better right now. So I want you to think about that. Your homework for today is to think about that. And it's I don't know, it's it's a weird, wild, wonderful, wacky world out there, and I absolutely love her, and I love all of you, and I think we are all just so stupendous. And even someone like me who talks about our power, I don't even know how much our power actually is. I don't even know how powerful we are. And I have not seen it yet, but I think I will. And when I was a child, I knew in my early 30s, I would see something really big, really different, something really incredible. And then as I got older, it was really weird because I'm just saying this because I don't know specifically if something will happen December 21st, 2012. I don't know that specifically. All I know is there are things happening now, and I'm almost 31, so it's my early 30s. And I see the change. I see the shift happening all the time. The amount of people who are awake and aware and trying to wake other people up is blowing my mind. And I know I think I always tell you that, but so the key to harmony is in recognizing and appreciating where we converge. Let's find or think of someone in our life who we don't have everything in common with, and let's try to find that light point, that spot, that pathway where we converge. What is it that does connect you to that person? Stop focusing on what is it that keeps you separate from that person, because that is what the elite wants. They want you to be separate because you're easier to be conquered. You're easier to be manipulated. But if you connect with people and find where you converge and focus on that and intend on that and love them for that reason, and also love them for the things that are different, because in your grand scheme of things, in your world, even if you completely disagree with something of where they're coming from, a belief, an idea, a system that they use in their own lives, there is something there for you. There's a lesson there for you, a challenge, some way to bring you even more out of that ginormous box or teeny tiny box, considering how you've lived your life. If you've searched or if you've just kept confined, some way to make your box a little bit bigger. And I think that should be our goal for every single person, is to try to make that box a little bit bigger. And the more and more I talk to people, the more I'm seeing that people are realizing that they've been confined and they are searching outside and looking within for answers. And I mean outside of the box, because searching inside the box but not inside yourself, I don't think is a very good idea. Because there's lots of rot on the wood of the box, so look outside the rot of the box and so that is the main topic for today. And I'm definitely going to be doing some soul searching myself based upon people who are in my life or on the outskirts of my life, and find where we connect. I'll say it one more time before I go on to something else. The key to harmony is in recognizing and appreciating where we converge. A new topic. Just not very long. I'm just going to tell you certain things that have been going on with me. A rundown. I'm raw foodist again, which has been fabulous. It's November 4th. I went raw again. And once in a while, I'm not as hardcore as I was last time. I'm maybe like 90% raw. But like once in a while, I feel like, let's get some shitty pizza, And that way, I am not confining myself for the rest of my life to, well, I know that sounds crazy, because eating raw is arguably probably the best way you could possibly eat. So the most natural way to me, because if you're going to go out in nature and you're going to pick from the planet the way that the planet intended, it's all raw. Nothing is cooked, nothing is processed, nothing is chemicalized or bleached, and I'm talking wild, not some farmer's field, right? Because who knows what they did with their crops. But just once in a while you feel like, I don't really care as much today. Having some pizza is not going to bother me. So every few weeks, every month or so, you get a pizza, or you go out for dinner, and that's fabulous. And then the very next day you go right back to what you were doing. And so it's not about what's the word? Like when you go on a strict diet and you follow it very strictly, you measure your food, you measure your calories. I think all that's bullshit, but I'm just saying I've done that too. And I've seen now that that's bullshit. But when you do all that, after a couple of days, after a week or whatever, you feel like, oh man, I want lasagna. I want pizza. I want a bag of chips. I want something, because you have been denying your body something. And I feel that way less and less and less with raw food, because you don't really feel that you're denying your body anything, and I know it's slightly contradictory, but because once in a while you get that craving. But you don't feel on a day-to-day basis you're denying yourself anything, because you are getting the nutrients and the minerals and the vitamins that you need. So that is a really wonderful, beautiful thing. So I'm a raw foodist again. And I was a raw foodist, I've mentioned before, at the beginning of 2011, from like December 30th, 2010 until about first couple weeks of April 2011. And then after that, I dabbled here and there, and I never stopped juicing. Now, since November 4th, I've been juicing and earthing and as raw as I possibly can be, And that's been really wonderful. And going for walks also. And I've also started doing enemas, which I highly, 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 highly recommend. And I was telling this to the cashier last night too. I was like, well, I do enemas too. So that cleans you out. And if you poop, that's wonderful, And she thought that was funny. You know already, I'm one of those people. I'm going to talk about poo in public. I don't care. If you have a problem with your poo, I think you really need to get your head examined. It's a part of you coming out. It's just waste, We all do it. So, I was talking a bit about that with her too. And enemas are fascinating. And the first enema is a little weird because it's that first initial sticking in that you find yourself kind of going, oh my God, this is going to be so much worse oh God, it's going to be so much worse. And then it happens and you're like, okay, I thought that was going to be so much worse than it actually was. And it was not a big deal. But yeah, I've done that a few times and it's really wonderful. I'm actually going to do another one tonight because there is nothing like a cleanse. And yeah, I would love to hear all of your experiences with enemas, with raw food, with health. And I mean, that's something I've pretty much always been very passionate about. And I was saying it to Matt the other day that there are 3 things currently in my life that are the most important to me and have been the most important to me for at least the last year or so. One is health. Is so important. I feel like my body is getting ready for something. And at the same time too, it's not just your body, because when you eat better, when you eat clean foods, when you eat whole foods, living foods, your brain cleans itself up. And yes, I go off on a million tangents all the time, but I always have a million thoughts at once. And this is just who I am naturally. This was who I am before, eating everyday regular food and everything. As a kid, I was the same way. Talked a million miles per minute and, had a million thoughts at once. And the second thing is trying to wake people up and bringing the truth as I know it to everybody and anybody. Even if I know they're more than likely going to ridicule me or make fun of me or say something really rude about my character or anything, I have to be loud and proud about it because I have a job to do. And that's not meant to sound like I am Superman or anything stupid like that. But so many of us have a job to do right now. And Jana, you're another one if you're listening. I know you are. And not just to single out Jana, I know probably anyone who's listening maybe has a little bit of that inclination within them to help people to wake up to the sick, oppressive system and to create something better. And that's the third one, creation. And I have been creating like crazy. I have 3 albums at least coming out this year, 2 Ophir, one of my own solo ones, but the solo one might even come out 2013. That just depends how things go. We have an album coming out March 27th called Being Sound. And if you go to our SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/OphirLooped, OPHIR looped, you will get to hear 19 of the songs that are on it. There are 22. And 3 more will probably be coming in the next couple of weeks before the actual release. And we're not sure who we're going to release on yet. So I've been asking people on Facebook too, if you have any information, what is important, if you have any information about like what is a really good site to sell your music digitally, because we're not making physical CDs, then please get to me and let me know. Reverb Nation, TuneCore, CD Baby, who's good. Any of those other ones, doesn't matter. I'd love to hear any and all information about it. Because yes, it makes me money, but on a greater scale also, otherwise I wouldn't have put these songs up for people to listen before buying. It's about trying to wake people up also, and our music is very much in that vein of trying to wake people up, trying to tell people what's happening, and also trying to empower them and inspire them. So yeah, that's soundcloud.com/OphirLooped, OPHIR looped. And then we're also coming out with a children's album, which might interest some of you, many of you, none of you, who knows. But what the key to these is that we really want to do an album that didn't stupefy children, that didn't deny their intelligence, that didn't insult them. And it definitely doesn't. We don't have a title yet. We're working on that. But that maybe won't come. It's just going to be an EP. It's 9 songs. And, it runs the gamut of, talking about gardening, talking about realizing your personal beauty and your connection to the universe. And anyone can listen to it. We've made it a little more simpler, melodically, and a little more, not really simpler lyrically, because I don't think my lyrics are ever really that simple anyway. So that is what I've been working on. And Beacon, of course, my solo project. And then, of course, Matt and I are also thinking, okay, what's the third album going to be? What are we going to do? And we already have enough songs for a Being Sound Part 2. We already have like 18 songs. So we're probably going to do that maybe at the end of the year. Who knows? We haven't decided on that yet. But that's been going on with me. And my main focus has been those three things, is still trying to wake people up, my health and the health of people around me by spreading information, and also creation. And that's where all of my music has come in. And so doing Earth Created, unfortunately, I hit a wall for a while. And doing this show today doesn't mean that I'm going to be doing it every single week, because I just don't know if I have that focus for Earth Created right now, because of everything else that's going on in my life. But I want to try. I really want to try, because it really meant a lot to me to be able to do the show every week. And I did it for 10 weeks, and that's pretty good. So, especially for more of a non-committal, more of a flowy kind of person than I am. I'm not a schedule person, I'm more of a flowy kind of person. So, it was good to be able to do that. It was a designated time. Every single Wednesday I recorded, and now today it's Thursday, so it's a little bit different, but whatever. So that's what's been happening with me. Enemas, D3, cannabis. God, what else? An amazing epiphany yesterday. Realizing on yet another level how we are all connected. What else? Raw food. Raw food's amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Music. Music is amazing. And I'd love to hear all of your experiences. I always say this because it's so important for us to keep the conversation going. And again, to find that place where we converge. And if you converge with me on any one of these topics, please, let's start a conversation. Let's talk about it. Or make your own video in response to this video. And I would absolutely watch it. In this day and age of technology, we really could use it in our favor, and I feel like that's what I'm doing. And I feel like there is a great group of us who are doing the same thing. So I'm going to close it for today. I think 42 minutes is pretty good. And I hope you're all doing fantastically. I hope that it's a beautiful day for you. It snowed last night and everything had melted down. So there was just snow on the edges of stuff and everything, right? When we went to the park yesterday. So things were getting green and brown and muddy again. And it was really beautiful. And the lake, not the lake, but the pond that's there at the park was starting to crack. And so you had different layers of ice creating shadows and light on top of each other. And that was just beautiful. But then we got a snowfall, not a snowstorm, but snowfall last night. So we are having a beautiful day because everything's covered in white. So I hope wherever you are, you're having a beautiful day too. And I hope that you can find the place where we all converge. And I think that this will make a great difference, because once we realize and appreciate that place where we converge, we can come together and we can create a better right now. And before I go, I want to leave you with this thought too. I was talking with Matt the other day, and sometimes my epiphanies come to me when I talk to Matt, and sometimes with Eric, because they're both very challenging and very great listeners. And I said, it's like that saying, there's no time like the present. And people always use that to say oh, well, I want to put this off till tomorrow, but there's no time like the present. I should do it right now. But I figured out another reason that saying is so important. And it doesn't completely connect to what we were talking about today, but I just want to throw it out there. It's an interesting other topic. Time, right? Because time doesn't exist. If you look at time, linear time doesn't really exist. It's just an illusion for us to, gauge, okay, well, this happened 6 years ago. Oh, well, this is going to happen in 2 weeks, right? It's to help us keep our schedules, really, and, to keep a chronological order of fill in the blank. But realistically, I found another meaning for there is no time like the present to also mean no time exists but the present. So if you look back, yes, things happened in the past. Yes, things will happen in the future, i.e., you have created things in the past, you will create things in the future. But what only matters is right now. What are you doing right now? What is the decision you are making? What is the decision you are not making, thereby making a decision? And what is that going to lead to? But what is this moment? What are you serving? How are you serving this moment? And I think that's the question I want to leave all of you with. If time doesn't exist, and the only time that exists is right now, how are you best serving this moment? So I'll leave you with that. Okay, 45 minutes. It's pretty good. I hope you have a fantastic day, a fabulous, beautiful, wondrous day. And I love all of you so much. This is why I keep coming back to this. Even if there are months in between, I got to keep coming back. I love you all so very much. You are my brothers, my sisters. We are connected. We converge somewhere. So let's find that and let's talk about it. All right. I hope you're all doing wonderfully. See you next time.
So beautiful you are, keep reaching for the stars. give up love. Never give up love. Never give up love.